Alright, in this video we're going to look at how we can use divs and CSS to create column layouts. Now this is going to become more critical as your websites get a little bit fancier for your plans. And the ideal would be to figure out what you want your website to look like on pencil and paper, and then using your growing knowledge of HTML and CSS create that particular layout. Now I'm going to start off by changing my blank web page, and that's exactly what I have here. And we know it's a blank web page because there's absolutely nothing in the body tags and there's nothing in the style, embedded styles up here. So currently my page is blank. There it is. Now to create our page, I'm going to create two divs, and each of these divs is going to be uniquely identified using the ID attribute. So I will make a left column div, and I'm going to make a right column div. And in these I will put some content. There. Now this content could easily be images, flash objects, any text, paragraphs, other divs, and things like that. But right now I have just two divs. I have a left column div and I have a right column div. Now if I look at this on my page now, that's all I get. I get two elements, one on top of the other, but I want them to be left and right. So I'm going to scroll up to my CSS and I'm going to tell the browser about these particular divs. My left column, I want it to be, and in fact, just so it's easier to see, I'm going to give my left column a background color of red and a foreground color of white. And I'm going to make it 50% wide, 50% of the parent container. In this case, the parent container is the browser window, 50% of that. And I'm going to float my left column to the left. Now let's see what that does. Okay, here's my left side, and it's over on the left. Now my right content is on the right where it should be, but notice it starts to spill over to the bottom here. So that we can visualize this a little bit better, let me go ahead and create a rule for my right column. I'll make that blue with a foreground color of white. Now the width for this one truly isn't necessary. There, now we can clearly see that that right side content is spilling over. And to further exaggerate that, I'll add a little bit more content to the right side now that we can really see it. However, my left side is 50% wide. Even if I resize the browser, the left side, that red column, is 50% wide. Now if I want that right side blue column to always be on the other side there, that right side, that 50%, and I don't want it to spill underneath, then I simply tell CSS that my right column should have a margin left equivalent to the width of the left column. Margin left. Now since my left column is 50% wide, I want my margin left on my right column to be 50%. There we go. Two columns with the appropriate widths. Make sense so far? Alright, well let's try a few more things. Let's assume I want to put a border on my red left column. No problem. There's my left column. I'm going to put a border that's 5 pixels thick, a solid border, and I will make that solid border green. I know I've got some crazy color schemes going on here. Now look at this. My red box does have a border, but the thickness of the border is pushing into the blue portion. In fact, if we look closely, we can see that I'm actually going about 10 pixels into the blue side. I've got the 5 pixel border there for the green on the right, and it's also got 5 pixels of red space because on the left side of that box we got 5 pixels. So that's causing a problem there. But let me show you a little trick. Instead of putting my border on the red left column, what if I did something like this? What if I put a div inside of my red left column? So now my left column doesn't just contain text or content, it contains a div that contains content. Now for my CSS, instead of having a border for my left column, I will have a border for the child of my left column. There we go. Perfect. Now it appears that my left column has a border, and it's not spilling over into the right column side. My left column doesn't have a border though. The div inside of my left column has a border. So in a lot of fancier websites, you will frequently see divs within divs, and the reason they're doing that is for exactly what I demonstrated, is that it makes it easier for us to manipulate the look and layout of things as we're using various borders and margins and padding. Speaking of padding, I don't like how close my text is to the edges here, so with my CSS I can padding of about 5 pixels for the div in my left column, and padding of about 5 pixels for my right column. Gives me a little bit more space. Now, what if we wanted to put these 50% columns inside of something? Watch this. What if both my left and right columns were contained within a holder? Call it holder. So there's an opening div ID'd as holder in front of my left column. I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'm going to put the closing div after my right column. So now the left and right columns are children of my holder div. Okay? And then I will, with my CSS, my holder will be 80% wide. It'll have a margin of 10 pixels on the top and bottom and automatic margins on the left and right. And I'll do a background color of yellow. There we go. So now I've got my columns inside of my yellow holder. The yellow holder is going to be 80% of the browser window up until a certain point. By the way, I just can't shrink this down any further here. So by using divs inside of divs and inside of divs, you can create some pretty interesting layouts.